smooth on the map, never smooth on the map, never smooth. What you gonna do when you at, who you with, you ain't really about that, don't did, don't do. Really wanna move on the map, never smooth.
Happy to have you on, and thank you for making the trip down. You're up in White County in Monticello, and we just want to hear about what's going on up in Monticello, your journey, your sort of you got thrust into the political world, kind of probably a little bit outside of your 30-year plan, maybe is what the story goes. But
Yeah.
Happy to have you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for this opportunity. This means a lot. This means not only a lot to me, but it means a lot to our community. Monticello is, for a long time, has been known as a tourist destination in the state of Indiana. We're fortunate enough to have two beautiful lakes, Lake Schaefer, Lake Freeman. We also have a nostalgic amusement park, Indiana Beach.
I've been there.
Yeah, great place.
Yeah, it's fun.
That was my stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Things had kind of shifted a little bit, and tourism becomes one of those things. If you're not staying relevant, it's hard to be on the map, especially when you only get X amount of weeks of summer, So to try and stay relevant, things had kind of changed. But Monticello is definitely known as a fun, family-friendly community zone, and that's where we just want to stay that way.
It's a beautiful city, beautiful community, the lakes. I mean, just really gorgeous. We'll get into Monticello here in a second, but tell us a little bit about your background. So you didn't really come up through the ranks of politics, and so how did you become mayor when really politics was not necessarily your thing?
I think the bug started. I had a friend of mine that ran for prosecutor, and we own a restaurant. We're a downtown restaurant, so we're kind of a...
What kind of restaurant?
Tex-Mex.
Okay, love it.
Yes,
love it.
Yes.
What's the name of it, so if anyone's ever there?
Casadora's Mexican restaurant downtown, right across from the courthouse.
That's awesome.
So, a good friend of mine, attorney, he ran for prosecutor, and he kind of used the restaurant as a bit of a staging area to meet people, and, I would tend to sit with him a little bit, listen, kind of caught the bug, and... loved the whole campaigning process. I really enjoyed that. And after he won, I'd kind of mentioned that I wouldn't mind being involved if there was a place where the party thought they could use me. And opportunity came up, and I quickly jumped at it. And it's funny how the journey has been, but I couldn't be any happier. I love my job. I truly do. And I love my restaurant. We still have our restaurant. That's the evening part of the day, but during the first part of the day, I get a chance to be with our the residents of Monticello, and we I just love to be hands on, and it's been a wonderful experience.
And you don't have a college degree, so tell us about that, because a lot of people think you got to go to college if you're going to do something in business, or if you're going to go into politics, or if you're going to do anything and be successful, you got to have a college degree. But that's not your story.
No, so I'm probably one of the lucky ones. Like, full disclosure, I came from our family, a lot of small business owners, hardworking business owners, but I was able to see, success and failure. I saw both of them, and every time our family, for the most part, just quickly picked themselves up and got back in it, and either recreated themselves or just got back in and found success. So I feel confident that with hard work and I don't want to say just honesty, but I mean, that plays a big part of it. Just being present and being in the moment and dealing with things as they pop up versus putting them off would play a small role in possibly being successful along the way. And I convinced my mom to let me partner with her in a restaurant. And, it's been 19 years since we've been open. Wow. I think it's 19 years. 19 or 18 years we've been there. And it hasn't always been easy, but
sure.
That's where you fall back on. I fall back on watching my grandparents and my parents, how hard they worked, and that, honestly, that's what gets me through.
So, hasn't always been easy. Probably some of the hardest times that I've seen in recent history for restaurant owners is COVID. So restaurants died like it was going out of style during COVID, and so you walked through that, came through it on the other side. Tell us about that journey and what that meant. How did you go through that as a restaurant and come out on the other side?
Every day was a complete learning lesson, but as I shared with you earlier, we made the most of it. Our dining room became the home gym and the playground for the kids. My twins learned how to ride their bicycles in the restaurant. And but you know what COVID did? And we would see a lot of customers come in the summertime. I mentioned about the lakes. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of tourists, so you get, obviously your business is gonna be a little stronger in the summertime. So you see a lot of people come in. There's a lot of lake cottages. Some are multi-generational. A lot of these are seasonal homes. And you start seeing some of these families like in November on Thursday when COVID was going on. And, you couldn't help but kind of wonder, what are you guys doing up here? And I think Monticello, and I still feel we still have that opportunity. It was a bit of a shot to show these people that we are an option. I mean, a lot of these folks live in Chicago in the suburbs or down here in the beautiful city of Indianapolis or around here, but they have lake houses, and all of a sudden, you're hearing from contractors, they're converting some of these homes or cottages into homes, or adding bedrooms, and we're an option. And I think that, it put us kind of, I wouldn't say back on the map, but I think COVID played well for us as far as marketing our what we offer.
Well, I mean, you guys are probably a place of respite for people, and you get into a place like Monticello where you don't have the rural Nazis that are just going to jump down your throat the moment you step out a line according to their.
That's exactly what we were hearing.
Yeah.
They could just kind of. We were obviously very cautious, and we still were careful, but it was in a small community. You tend to, especially a rural community. I mean, you're survivors, right?
Yeah.
It's never easy. It's never convenient.
Your resilience.
Yes,
yeah.
and that that really shined through. And I think a lot of these people in these bigger communities, those bells and whistles and all those bright lights, they were failing.
Yeah,
and we were strong.
Yeah. And so then you jumped into the mayor's race right after COVID, okay, tell us about that. Your wife, she even knocked doors for you when she was like 8 months pregnant.
We were out, yeah.
That's amazing. You got a trooper of a wife that would go out there knocking doors. I don't know too many wives that would do that at 8 months pregnant. Yeah. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, she they bought in 100%. She's always obviously very supportive. So knocking on doors. And the funny thing is when we got, like you said, I really wasn't from this world. Mm-hmm. And there was a list of Republicans that I was kind of told these are Republican-friendly voters or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I hid from that list. Mm. I didn't want that list. I didn't want to change my thought process when I was knocking on the door, because I wanted every single vote. Mm. And we did, and we just knocked on every door, and she was with me. I don't want to say 80% of the time, but she was there a lot. Wow. And it got to become our little family time. As soon as school was out, we'd put on our campaign clothes, and I'd put on the hat, and we'd just walk, and there'd usually be a soccer ball, and we just did it.
That's cool.
It was fun.
Do you find knocking doors when you're campaigning is interesting because unfortunately in today's culture, you don't get too many people that go and knock on doors or come up to you. When someone knocks on your door, usually it's met with a hesitation.
Yes.
Like, who's there? What's going on?
Yeah.
Whereas 40 years, 50 years ago, it was people were knocking on doors, coming up, saying, hey neighbor, how you doing? So what was it like in Monticello? Because I've knocked doors a lot too in my world, and you always have to be ready for everything.
Yeah, literally, yes.
So
Monticello is, end of the day, it is a very friendly community.
Yeah.
We are very, I don't want to say a nostalgic community, but just friendly. A lot of us know each other, and door knocking took a long time because there were a lot of visiting was going on, but it was good. There were, you got a few that were, it's awkward with the what do you call it, the bell,
the doorbell?
Yes.
Or like the
with
ring,
the camera,
the ring doorbell?
Where they want to communicate through the camera, and I'm like, I know, it was kind of like, that was kind of surreal.
Yeah.
The kids loved it. They knew exactly what was going on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but most people were extremely friendly on both sides. On both sides. It was great.
And I like that you didn't necessarily pigeonhole people into Republican or Democrat. You just walked up and, hey, you're a resident of this community. What can I do for you as a potential mayor?
Yes.
Now, you said Monticello is about 6,000 people?
Just under.
Just under 6,000. You said, so then the election goes on. There was only 1,100 that voted.
Now, is
that 6,000 eligible voting adults, or does that include children?
I think it's just children. That's
okay. So you probably had 4,000 people eligible to vote, maybe give or take.
Yeah.
If just I'm spitballing there, but still only 1,100 showed up to the polls.
It was we're waiting out there, and it's the first time I've been in something like that, and it's us and them, and we're kind of watching the people come in, and it was like we talked earlier, it was a moment that I know I'll never forget. It was because you put a lot out there, and that I don't know if I needed the job as much as I wanted the job. I really did. And I was visiting with a friend today on the way down here that I was at a time in my life where the restaurant it wasn't exciting. I think I'll always have that in my blood, that passion to be in the restaurant world. But this came at a great time for me.
That's good. So the election night happens, you win by 90-ish votes. Not many, right? I mean,
No.
It's amazing to think that the executive leader of a city, even though it's a smaller town, but still you're the executive, was decided by 90 people.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
a few families. You really think about it. Just a few families came in, and you're right. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And it changes the direction of a city, right? I mean, had you not won it, city could have been very much in a totally different direction. So it goes to show the importance of getting involved locally, and that's a big passion of mine, is teach people, hey, be educated, learn the system, understand what's going on when it comes to the governance of your community. And you may say, well, it's just a small town. Well, there's a lot of amazing things that can happen in small towns.
I hear that a lot, and I think small towns are so important right now. I mean, people are watching us so closely for, I even feel like for direction. I think we really have it right. I think we do. Our values we're honed in. We sit at a kitchen table at night, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think the small town values are so. I mean, they're trending. You look on social media, you type in, small town, hometown.
People want that. You're right. It's a trend that I really am glad is trending, right?
Yes.
People are looking for that, close-knit, small community. Kids can be riding down the street. They're not worried that, somebody's going to, do something, shoot them or kidnap them, or, it's people who have faith and family values, who are patriotic. They love their neighbors, and you're finding that in small towns. I love being in my role, because my role really as lieutenant governor is to serve small towns, Indiana. So with agriculture, which is very rural, very much a rural focus, and then we have OCRA, which is the Office of Community and Rural Affairs. That's all small towns. That's working with towns just like Monticello to say, hey, how can we help you, be a vibrant small town to where there's growth, but you're not becoming the Indianapolis.
Right.
We don't want that. That's not the goal. The goal is to say, hey, how can you be vibrant and still maintain the small town character and values of your DNA?
And that's the trick.
Yeah.
You need to grow, but we can't lose sight of who we are and what we want to be.
So great segue, because I wanted to ask you this. So I look at some of the towns. So I live in Hamilton County, and while there's a lot of great things about Hamilton County, I've been there for 20 years. My wife was born there.
She was born in?
She was born,
okay.
yeah.
That's
She was
cool.
born in Noblesville, yeah. And so, but just kind of seeing how it's trending, it's growing so fast. And I feel like there's a race by local leadership to just outgrow one another. They're not really looking at, is the growth good for...
Grow to grow?
Yeah, it's just grow to grow.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, okay, listen, grow to grow is not what we want.
Right.
We want good growth.
Smart growth.
We want smart growth, growth that actually maintains the values. And I've asked some of our local leaders, I said, how do you protect those down-home, small-town, pro-American, not woke values that built these communities? How do you protect that? Because now what we're seeing a lot of like the Carmels and the Zionsvilles. I mean, Zionsville just had this really disgusting drag show that happened right downtown Zionsville. You had dudes wearing thongs and kids giving money, like 3-year-olds giving dollar bills to these drag performers that are basically stripping in front of them. And this is Zionsville, a donut county that 30 years ago would have been exactly like Monticello.
Yeah.
So how do you, as a local leader, say, okay, we can grow, but how do you protect the DNA? How do you protect the values that made the Monticellos the place where everybody wanted to be?
Micah, that's the question, right? So in my spot, while I'm mayor, I have an opportunity to try to attract, and I don't want to say beg or convince, but you try to get good leaders as you find them in the right spot to help protect what we have. And you're right, it is a battle. It's going to be, unfortunately, fought every day. It's fought whether it be the classroom or, in corporate America. But I think the best place is at our kitchen table. I mean, it just really, we got to get mom and dad to buy in, and then to share that vision, to their children, to buy into what America is supposed to be about. More importantly, what Indiana is supposed to be about. I mean, our values are I think, so true. And you watch what happens on the two coasts, east and west, and it gets a little, sometimes it's mind-boggling. But I really feel so fortunate that I'm raising my family. Our family's right here in this state.
Yeah. Me too, man. We are blessed compared to some of the other states around. We got our problems, and we got to hold the line.
We do.
But what do you see in education in a town like Monticello? So do you feel like the education within the public school system is holding true to those values? Do you feel like there's they're slipping a little bit, or what's kind of been your perspective on that?
I think for the most part, we're doing a pretty good job. I think a few years ago, I think things got a little, they were testing, you know what I mean?
Right,
and
right.
I think the parents, I'll tell you what, I mean, even the parents who maybe weren't as active got active.
Yeah, once they saw what was going on.
Yeah, and I think they reacted.
Yeah, 2020, that was a silver lining, I think, where it woke parents up.
It was a line. It was a line. We had two.
Yeah.
I mean, we could either, and luckily,
Yeah.
I mean, luckily you're here.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah.
Honestly,
I wouldn't be in this role had we not gone through what we went through with 2020 and COVID and the BLM and just all the woke stuff. And I think similar to you, I mean, it's amazing what a crisis will do to call people up to say, hey, we need leadership. I mean, I probably honestly wouldn't have felt the need to run or to be. I would have probably still had my head in the sand like many of us had we not gone through it. So in God's grace, he allowed us to walk through a chaotic, not good time like what we did, but it woke a lot of people up in a good way.
I'll tell you, like you said, you hate to keep bringing up COVID, but it really, that was definitely the moment when I realized just how fragile the whole thing was just, and it was up for grabs. Yeah. And,
what's the vision of Monticello? So what as mayor now, okay, so you've been a year and a half in, what are you, like when you, every day you tell your team, good vision statement and good mission statement, but what are you hoping 10 years from now, if you can look back, 20 years from now, okay, this is where Monticello is going, what would it look like?
So I feel like Monticello, we mentioned earlier about the tourism, and that's something where I love tourism. I feel like anybody can be a player in that role, whether it's a restaurant or a guy selling T-shirts. I think there's an opportunity for somebody. But what I really feel like, and we've never really considered ourselves a bedroom community, but there is so much growth going on in Lafayette, West Lafayette, and Purdue University. There is an opportunity for us to maybe, like you said, we still want to keep our values, but we've had a huge housing shortage. And there's been this, I'm probably getting these numbers wrong, and I apologize, but I think there's maybe a dozen houses that were built in the city limits in the last decade.
Oh, wow.
We have a goal of doing 300 homes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we have 300 homes, and I consider a home.
Over how long?
It probably takes 7 years.
Okay.
I'll need one more term. I need one more term. And I consider a home.
Mayors don't have term limits, so you could have like 14 more terms if
I'm ready.
if you're doing a good job. So,
but in my when I say home, I'm referring to a kitchen table and a front door. So it could be an apartment, but we need a blend of housing, especially affordable housing. That's what for Monticello, I think that's what we're at that point where we need to grow. We need the housing.
With White County and Monticello, what kind of industry are you looking to attract, or are you attracting?
We're always trying to attract.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten a little. We're blessed to have manufacturing inside the city limits. Monticello does it. We have ball manufacturing. We have AdCab. We have several Regal. We're very fortunate to have what we have. To attract, there seems to be. We're at that stage with the infrastructure, like when to invest and how to invest, and how permanent will it be.
Yeah,
I really don't want to be a temporary stop for something. So something is permanent that provides jobs, we're all in.
Yeah, the state has good incentives. So the federal government does too, to work with cities and counties like yours to incentivize through making sure the infrastructure is we're lifting the burden with you. So whether it's for anyone else listening or watching this podcast, if you're in local government, you reach out to the state and say, hey, we're a small town. We've got some infrastructure needs. We've got to build better roads. We got water issues. We need to expand our capacity when it comes to sewer and things like that. Where that's really what the state is designed to do for the local communities. I always say we don't build the plane for you, but we help you build the runway so that you can build the plane, figure out what plane you want to fly, and then you're able to take off, right?
Yeah.
And so that's both the federal government and the state government. That's really, I think, the right role for state and federal government to play in cities and towns like yours is to say, hey, let us come in and help you with the infrastructure. So through the Main Street program, Stellar Pathways, that's all under Okra, which is what I oversee, and they're doing great work to do just that. And man, I love downtown Main Streets, like little Monticello Main Streets. They're like, it is so cool when you see a vibrant, thriving Main Street. It's not becoming, corporate. It's not corporate takeover. It's like mom and pop shops that are actually, doing well, and traffic's there. People want to go. So we want to help you, make Monticello that type of place. Yeah,
we're excited. We have. Right now, we got 3 subdivisions that are coming on. We're looking at a downtown housing project. Monticello, 51 years ago, got leveled by a devastating tornado.
Okay.
Lives were lost. Basically, we had a beautiful courthouse, and I think we don't have a pretty courthouse now, but it wasn't what it was. So we've had that. You got that 70s vibe, and we just need to but we are. I think we're making a lot of progress. We have a really strong SOMA, our Streets of Monticello, they are a strong organization. We're looking at some art. We got a river walk coming in.
Yep.
The health of the community is extremely important. You go to a lot of these. As a mayor, you get invited to a lot of meetings, and, a lot of them you leave just, it sounds horrible to admit this, but you just feel devastated sometimes with the news you hear, the statistics you hear, what's going on, what's trending. And you just realize that it doesn't have to be a complicated solution. I mean, family values, exercise.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
You don't always need a slip from a doctor to get permission to feel good.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do right now. We want a lot of opportunities to get people out and exercise and socialize, and we're looking at pickleball courts. We got 4 of those coming here. I hope very soon. We just put a fitness court in. The outdoor river walk, that should be, I believe that should be finished by next year. So we've got a lot of cool projects I'm very excited about. I feel so blessed that it's happening when I can get to enjoy it.
That's great.
And promote them. That's what I want to do, is just promote them.
And again, it goes back to defending values that are true, right, good, and virtuous, and I think that's where the Republican principles are rooted in those values. They go back to biblical truth. They go back to what God says, the laws of nature, and nature's God, our creator, has said these things, and you're going to be successful. You'll be successful as a business owner, as a family man, as a parent, as a mayor, lieutenant governor, wherever God leads you, you'll be successful if you just honor those principles that they're timeless. And I think that's what you're doing. I love seeing it, Aaron. Keep it up, man. And if people want to know more about checking out Monticello, how can they research? Do you guys have a town website, or what's the best way if they want to come up and check out?
We're on most social media pages, but in all honesty, we keep it. It's active. Our Facebook page, our website. They can always call the office. I mean,
that's great.
Yeah.
What are some like maybe some, if people are looking at their calendar, when would you tell them to check out Monticello, make a trip to Monticello? Like, get any festivals or things that happen that it's like, okay, come to that?
So July is always a huge month. We do the fireworks, and there's festivals throughout. I apologize, I don't have the dates with me, but there's a lot of festivals that go on, and Indiana Beach is usually in its prime.
Okay.
So, and the park it's wonderful during the daytime, but if you don't get a chance to check it out at night when the lights are on, and it's just it's a very nostalgic park. Absolutely gorgeous.
Now, that's not town owned, is it?
No, it's not. It's
okay. It's same family that's owned it?
No, it's a real strong family that had that for, oh my gosh, I was like maybe 70, 80 years, I think. And then it things change, right?
Yeah.
So it's sold a couple times, and the current owner is doing a great job. He's investing as he can, and it looks, it looks as good as it has in a long time. In all honesty, he's done a great job. So
That's great.
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Mayor, thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend.
Just keep up the great work, and obviously, we hope people will see this and go check out Monticello, and who knows, maybe they'll buy a little cottage up there at some point.
We would love that. Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you.